Two devastating tornadoes in 2 years, 2 churches destroyed. Now this McGee pastor shares his words of wisdom and lessons learned. This is what Governor Barber wants, and this is how he plans to get it. These are top priorities. We're going to zoom down here for you. It is not sticking yet. A hot meal and a place to lay their heads. That's what these people are so grateful for after losing everything.
They've been watching the news. We've been warning them for several days now that this storm was coming.
A lot of cash isn't coming into the county. Social Security numbers are supposed to be redacted. And Hinds County Circuit Clerk Barbara Dunn, she refused to do an interview too. Today, the walls and classrooms of Vicksburg Junior High School look like any other school. Yesterday, well, that was a different story. Now it is the generation above my iPhone I've got in my hands, but it is bigger, about the size of Fox 40 News employee handbook. Tonight on Fox 40 News at 9, hear his story about how he and his family are dealing with this water crisis. Reporting live in Jackson, Haley Westbrook, Fox 40 News at 9. Before reading the sentence, Judge Tommy Green let a family member from both the Pogue and DeDucis family speak. Lisa DeDucis' brother John spoke favorably of Karen Irby, but said she deserves the maximum sentence. Then Judge Tommy Green read a letter she wrote on behalf of the victims.
Dear Karen, we too are good people, so don't drink and drive tonight.
In a silent but tearful courtroom, Judge Tommy Green reads aloud the voice she gave to the victims.
So call a cab, call a friend, throw away the keys, but for heaven's sakes, don't drink and drive tonight.
Dr. Mark Pogue and Lisa DeDucis were starting their lives together.
We're in love and happy. Can't wait to set up our home.
Just before Valentine's Day, the newly engaged couple took a drive down Old Canton Road, never imagining what was ahead.
We see your headlights coming, and you're not slowing down.
The fiery crash took both lives, leaving Irby with a life ahead full of regrets.
You've given us no leniency, no mercy we can see. For it doesn't seem you heard our plea. Looks like you've been drinking and driving tonight.
John DeDucis also brought up Stuart Irby. He said that Karen had been living in fear of Stuart before the crash. He also said the night of the crash that Stuart assaulted Karen moments before it happened. Now, DeDucis hopes that the state holds Stuart liable too, and Judge Green says that's for another day and another judge. Reporting in Jackson, Haley Westbrook, Fox 40 News. Kathy, I've been on top of this story since last November. Now, January was the last time that former Hinds County EOC Director Larry Fisher spoke to me on camera about updating tornado sirens and putting new ones in place like the one behind me. Now, as of this year, 10 of 51 sirens have been replaced. Fisher says now the time is here to put the blame where the blame's due when it comes to siren delays.
They can't fire me. They can't threaten me anymore. They can't take anything away from me.
Former Hinds County EOC Director Larry Fisher says it's time to talk. It's the first time we've heard from him since January.
The target date is actually July.
That January prediction came true. 10 new sirens were up by July.
I want to get it done within the next year. There's no reason why we can't.
That was Supervisor Robert Graham in January, but the project is still far from finished. Now Larry Fisher puts the blame for both siren delays and wasting tax money squarely on the supervisor.
I don't care who I say to what I say to anybody now.
It's been a struggle for years for Hinds County to find ways to warn you, and Fisher was in the middle of it all. For over 2 decades, he tested siren after siren to see which ones worked.
You know, that was in my normal routine duty, so I did not receive any extra funds for them.
But everything changed last year when Precision Communications, a company that didn't get a contract to install tornado sirens, filed a complaint. Precision claims it had the lowest price and deserved the job. It added the company that won the bid, Federal Signal, didn't have a license to work in Mississippi.
I did not even recommend Federal, first because they were not licensed to do business in Mississippi. Secondly, because the only thing I had to look at on their new siren system was one-page color brochure, and that's like you hand out at a fair.
But the litigation didn't stop the county from moving forward. 10 new Federal Signal sirens went up, and that's when Fisher's role in the process went down.
I could not go to any of the siren sites where the new sirens were being put up.
Then a second company got involved. Fisher says Hinds County gave Airwave Communications, a company that has a county communication contract, a $48,000 emergency purchase order to do the work that Fisher was already doing.
And all the siren locks had been changed, so I could not even open a cabinet to see if work had been done inside of the cabinet, and was not allowed to look at them because Airwave had put their own locks on all the siren signs.
Fisher says Supervisor Graham told him to keep quiet.
I have to tell him, no, I can't talk to you about it. I'm not even allowed to go to the siren site, so how can I tell you what's going on?
I took the information Fisher told me to Supervisor Graham. He talked to me for months, giving constant updates on siren progress. This week, he told Fox 40 the next round of siren bids would be made at the end of the month. But when it comes to Fisher and the claims he made, Graham would only say the Hinds County Board of Supervisors would like to wish Larry well in his retirement.
I asked Mr. Graham on the telephone last year, in the early part of the year, I said, Mr. Graham, are you trying to force me to leave, or are you trying to make me have a heart attack? Which one? 4 months later, I was in the hospital with a heart attack.
Fisher tells me that the company that put up the new siren above me hasn't been paid yet. Fisher says if it doesn't happen soon, then Hinds County could lose its grant money used to pay for the tornado sirens. As for Precision Communications, the company is taking its case all the way to the Mississippi Supreme Court. Reporting live from South Jackson, Haley Westbrook, Fox 40 News at 9. Hillcrest Baptist Church is a pile of rubble, broken Bibles, rusty nails, and shattered glass, all remnants of a once strong building.
I almost didn't want to get out of my vehicle.
McGee's Corinth Baptist Church pastor Jay Westbrook reflects on a similar sight a little more than a year ago.
Brought back a lot of memories when you walk around and you see little toys of the children's toys and things like that.
Now two worlds collide.
And we know what they're feeling, back in McGee. We understand it.
Westbrooks comes to give back. He passes out hymnals and lends some advice, all in effort to return a year-old favor.
The pastor at the time called me and asked me if he could come down, and him and one of the church members came down, and they come down and brought us a gift of love.
And the gift of love is exactly what Hillcrest Baptist Church member Dale Thrasher says they need.
The building started falling on in, and I just bowed my head and covered it with my hand and asked the Lord to save me.
You see, he was the only one inside the church when the tornado hit. He crawled under a communion table, escaping with only a few scratches.
I could feel his presence. When I was under that table, it was just like he encircled me in his arms.
The church has been through a lot, just like its brother in McGee. But unlike Corinth Baptist, this one doesn't have a pastor. He left a few weeks before the storm.
There needs to be that individual to take the blame sometimes, and also to take the credit sometimes.
Westbrook says it's all about unity. The church needs to rebuild on an already strong foundation.
They need to be comforted right now. This is a big loss to them. They went through rebuilding before, and now they're faced with it again.
Around 7 years ago, the church burned to the ground.
And we've seen what the Lord can do. Just like he did with our brother, he's going to do with us. If we'll stick together and just ask God for guidance, he'll rebuild it.
Unity, guidance, and strength, all key ingredients to build back bigger and better. And Thrasher, well, he has no fear. He holds on to a special sign.
One of our young men was walking around Cole Dixon, and he found a songbook opened. And the page it was open to is when the storm passes by. And the storm's passed by, and we're just looking forward to what the Lord's going to do next.
Reporting in Yazoo City, Haley Westbrook, Fox 40 News.
Kathy, Chris Haynes is making a rapid recovery. He tells me everywhere he goes, people ask him to retell the story of how he survived a shark attack. And with a touch of Haynes humor, it's a story you'll certainly want to hear.
Looking better. I mean, that's not the prettiest foot in the world.
It's been a long road to recovery for Chris Haynes.
See those teeth marks?
With a slow and steady walk, Haynes gets by just fine.
Well, I'm going to just head down the hall.
The survivor's scars and family photos tell an amazing story of survival.
Right place at the wrong time to get hit by a shark.
Haynes was with his family and friends on a Louisiana fishing trip, one he's been on before. He was standing in the water near his boat named the Predator, but what Haynes didn't know was that another predator was heading straight for him.
When I saw him, he couldn't have been over 5 or 6 feet from me and just looked like a torpedo.
Haynes says everything happened so fast.
Maybe he didn't like the way I tasted. I don't know, but he left.
The shark bit Haynes right below his knee. His friends and family did all they could to drag him back to his boat.
They got a clean bath towel and folded it a couple of times and put it around all the wounds.
They were able to control the bleeding, and about 45 minutes later, help came.
Easy ported, right?
This is video of the U.S. Coast Guard helicopter pulling Haynes to safety.
And they had the big basket and they pulled me up.
And these pictures show the dramatic rescue frame by frame.
The first doctor saw me said, you started Shark Week. Sunday was the first day of Shark Week.
After multiple surgeries, Haynes' doc says his recovery is ahead of schedule.
He said it's not going to be as good as it was, but you'll be able to do anything, you did before.
As for what he's looking forward to the most?
Able enough to duck hunt, because I love to duck hunt. And I tried my duck hunting boots on Sunday, and I got them on, and I've got a plan for that.
Now, Haynes used to be in the Coast Guard. He says this Coast Guard helicopter ride was his second one, obviously for a much different reason. Travis.